Nietzsche, living in solitude and dealing with society. Dark night of the soul. Solitude is a state of seclusion or isolation, not having any communication with other people. One of the most influential philosophers of contemporary times was Friedrich Nietzsche. According to Nietzsche, the world is being ruled by archaic laws and norms that have no place in the modern era. The turning moment in Nietzsche's life, where he discovered how to let go and then rebuild and create new things, might be seen as his loss of faith in being religious. The fundamental problem that Nietzsche seeks to address through his teachings is his insight that humankind has been living under an illusion that restricts the search for new and distinct existential modes of living. Nietzsche, who describes himself as a nihilist, differs from many other philosophers before him. His idea of solitude was for a person to spend extended time alone, without any entertainment or outside distractions. The person disassociates from the primary mental automatisms of the slave egos in solitude, since there are no outside influences. To achieve self-acceptance and a better awareness of one's limitations, one might be free from what's considered universal human norms with this detachment. Being alone makes us realize how isolated we are, which prompts us to reject the universal human approach to develop a sense of individuality. One must realize that these values, slave values, are meaningless, and that new creativity and meaning are required. I should emphasize that Nietzsche believed solitude had both a good and bad side. He considered it a beneficial and encouraging aspect of self-discovery, but he also understood the risks. While people understand to keep their negative or unsocial desires to themselves when with other people, they will have more time to consider evils when alone. Christian mentality strongly emphasizes avoiding solitude, since it's thought that wild desires are more prone to surface in seclusion. However, Nietzsche contends that since wicked thoughts can be let loose in isolation, each person's allowed to make judgments about what's good and wrong at that time. The teachings of Nietzsche strongly advocate solitude as a countermeasure to society's demands on people. Nietzsche believed that to become a great person, one must first learn to live alone. He explains in his work how modern democracy, which ultimately means that old values and cultures are governing society by following slave values. He argued that society hinders a person's personal growth, and that the only way to escape the constraints of humanity is to live alone. Nietzsche also held that a person needed to be strong enough to avoid being corrupted by society. According to Nietzsche, the greatest threat to a person is when emotions overcome their reasoning intellect. Nietzsche advocated for living alone to follow one's objectives and interests, rather than those dictated by society. He believed that people are held back from reaching their full potential by the excessive restrictions and demands placed on them by society. It's vital to withdraw into oneself and create one's distinct worldview to escape these demands. Nietzsche did not equate solitude with isolation or loneliness. Instead, it's a period for introspection and contemplation, during which one can concentrate on honing one's ideas without interruption from others. Although this process may be challenging and frustrating at times, in the end it's gratifying, since it enables us to tap into our inner creativity and strengths. I hate who steals my solitude without really offering me in exchange company. Friedrich Nietzsche. Having trouble interacting with others when you live alone is not uncommon. According to Nietzsche, the best approach to dealing with society is to be unconcerned about it. Although it may seem complicated, if someone can learn to live independently of society, they'll be less impacted by it. According to Nietzsche, there are two approaches to dealing with society. Indifference is used in the first case, and dominance in the second. Because of their capacity to exist outside of society, he asserts that the strongest and most independent souls will inevitably come to dominate. But instead of doing this dominance out of rage or hatred, one should do it out of strength and love. He also believes that the only good man is a dead one, and that anything else in his view is only a means to an end. How can someone who lives alone deal with society? You don't have to live a hermit's life to live in solitude. There are methods for taking pleasure in solitude while still engaging in the outside world. 1. Get outside and spend some time in nature by walking or hikes. You'll feel more like a part of the world in the open air and nature. 2. Keep a journal. Writing down your thoughts and emotions can aid in processing and understanding. It might be an excellent method to reflect on your typical experiences and peace in your life. Living in solitude can be a great way to find peace and reflect on your life, but it can also be challenging to deal with society. Here are more ways to deal with society while living in solitude. 1. Establish limits. Setting limits with those who wish to breach your privacy or disturb your quiet is crucial. Inform them that you need some time alone and will get in touch with them when you're ready to mingle. 2. Make a plan for your social interactions. Before leaving the house, plan what you'll accomplish and where you want to go. It will lessen distractions and aid in maintaining your focus. 3. Interrupt your use of technology. Technology, including social media, can be a distraction when attempting to concentrate on oneself. 4. Treat your body well. It's a part of you that's alive and well and deserves some affection. Eat healthily, get adequate rest, and work out frequently. 5. Establish a group of people who share your interests or aspirations. Living alone has numerous advantages. One is that it promotes introspection and personal development. It's important to give oneself space to think back on and draw lessons from prior experiences if one wants to advance as a person. Living alone can also aid in developing a person's unique worldview. Being alone allows one to form their own opinions free from other influences. As it promotes creativity and individual expression, this can be pretty advantageous. Last but not least, living alone can help reduce your stress. You may concentrate on relaxing and calming activities when there are no outside distractions, promoting a more tranquil frame of mind. Living alone has its advantages, but it can also be challenging. Isolation is sometimes linked to solitude, and many people consider this to be a bad attribute. One needs to embrace their environment and loneliness to live alone. The opportunity to choose one's path and let go of others who are no longer in one's life is provided by solitude. The foundation of solitude is also self-sufficiency and independence from others. One can be liberated from outside forces in solitude. In literature, movies, and the arts, the individual's loneliness is emphasized in several ways. How can I find contentment and peace alone, especially when experiencing the dark night of the soul? One must first be able to enjoy their own company to achieve serenity and fulfillment in solitude. Although it might require some practice, it'll be well worth it. Finding a spot where you can alone come when you've mastered being content with your thoughts and presence. It might be a peaceful area of the outdoors, a private space in your home, or even a time each day when you entirely disconnect from electronics and social media. Utilizing this time for introspection and self-care is crucial. Once you've located your quiet place, make it a point to visit it frequently. During this period, permit yourself to do whatever you want guilt-free. Read, write, paint, listen to music, etc. Getting back into the practice of unplugging and detaching from technology is crucial. Permit yourself to revert to being an average person.
Don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell icon to be notified of subsequent updates. Thanks for watching!